So there's a Earth. The planet Earth has a North Pole and a South Pole, right? Like South Pole is Antarctica, and North Pole is the Arctic Circle kind of thing. Magnets have a North and South Pole too, and people will tell you, well, these names, these terms were given magnets arbitrarily. There has no real reason for like a North Pole and a South Pole in a magnet. It has nothing to do with the Earth's North and South Pole. But I think it actually does. I'm no Nikola Tesla, and I don't have I don't have a grasp as good as Nikola Tesla had over the concept of magnets and magnetism and stuff. But yeah, for some reason, I think that this is connected to the constellations Orion and Taurus. Orion represents the Earth's North Pole. The planet Earth's North Pole is what the Hunter constellation represents, and Taurus the Bull is within the northern hemisphere. Taurus the Bull is on the northern side of the celestial equator. But Taurus the Bull is actually supposed to be housing immigrant children from the southern hemisphere. So that is what Krishna is. See, Krishna means children of immigrants from the southern hemisphere. Now, natives from the southern hemisphere, came into the northern hemisphere, and they'll be like, well, opposites attract, and I'm south and you're north, and I was attracted to you. And this is the excuse people will give. People give you the exact same excuse when they People give you the exact same excuse when they tell you, well, Zeus raping Danae is just true love, and Brahma raping Shatarupa is actually just true love. Opposites attract, and one is north and the other is south. No, that's not true. That's propaganda, and they want to take over the northern hemisphere, and they're supposed to be southern hemisphere. They're the Himba tribe, they're the Sambia tribe, they're the Hammer tribe, and all those other kind of tribes that practice all kinds of sexually perverted practices as rituals and customs and traditions. It's all part of their customs. The sexual perversion is all part of their custom. Sexual perversion is part of their customs. Polygamy is part of their customs. So, yeah, they're trying to force it. They're trying to thrust it. They're trying to foist it onto natives of the northern hemisphere. So you see people in Czechoslovakia don't really have it together because, well, women just have to get prostituted out there for some reason. And, well, who is their main clientele? I don't have the stats on that. I don't have the exact information on that. But if you had to look into it, I'm pretty sure people of Aryan descent are the highest paying clients that they have, are the most frequent clients that they have. And then there are blacks, and then there are people of Jewish descent and whatnot. And these are not people who are of Slavic descent. The people who go to purchase sex from these women aren't of Slavic descent. They aren't of Celtic descent. See, they aren't of Serbian descent because there's a difference between Aryan and white. Aryan is Krishna, and Krishna. Okay, well, also there's this concept that I have. There has to be tension between two opposite poles of a magnet, like a north pole of a magnet and a south pole of a magnet. If they're facing together, there's tension in the middle, and they don't come together gracefully. They'll smash into each other. They'll it's like getting hit by a truck. So that's the whole opposites attract thing. When they attract, they don't attract gracefully. There's always going to be tension in the middle, and then they have to crash into one another. So miscegenation between the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere is not right. And as long as there are concerns about incest, or incestuous marriages, see, you have northwest in the northern hemisphere, and then you have southeast in the northern hemisphere, and the exact same thing applies to the southern hemisphere too. You have northwest in the southern hemisphere, and you have southeast in the southern hemisphere. So southeast on both sides, the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere, southeast is going to have warmer climate. Northwest is going to have colder climate. So it makes sense if people in the northern hemisphere, males from the north, marry west within the northern hemisphere. So that'll be like males in the northern hemisphere from the north of the northern hemisphere will marry females in the western part of the northern hemisphere, and males from the western part of the northern hemisphere will marry females from the northern hemisphere. And when it comes to southeast, males from the south will marry females from the eastern part of the northern hemisphere, and males from the eastern part of the northern hemisphere will marry females from the southern part of the northern hemisphere. Now, what that does is that these two places have different climates, warm climate and cold climate. So people in the warm climate can trade with people in the colder climate, and they'll have an alliance. South and east will have an alliance, and north and west will have an alliance, and that means, well, that southeast can't take over northwest, because southeast will rely on people in the colder climates, and the exact same will apply to people in the northwest. They will rely for resources on people. They will rely for resources on people in the southeast. So now you can't have any invaders trying to take over your property because you have better resources and you won't share with them. Northwest has resources of a colder climate, and Southeast has resources of a warmer climate. So there can be peace if people want there to be peace, but it's just that Brahma and Shatarupa, they want to shove everything up their genitals. It's always been about that.